fucking crazy. God damn it. Ugh. Oh my god, I'm like, fuck. Oh, great. Literally being chased by a cow.
So you might be wondering, how did you get stranded on a riverbank in the middle of nowhere being chased by cows? And that's a very reasonable question, and the answer to that, we'll get to. But as a side note, before you judge and ask, why are you so scared of a few cows? Did you know that cows kill a whopping 20 people per year in the US alone? Whereas sharks, on the other hand, kill only 1 person per year in the US alone. Yeah, I knew that. I was trying to keep myself from capsizing down a river and didn't need to be trampled by crazy cows in the process. So how did I get myself in this situation?
If you hate videos of people ugly crying on the internet, then maybe you should skip through this video, because I may have done a tiny bit of ugly crying in this video. I attempted to do the Whanganui River tour in a canoe solo, and it didn't go quite as planned. I'm kind of stuck and I don't know what to do, so that's exciting. I have no service, and I don't know if I want to do this by myself. I really don't think I do. But I can't climb out because the road's there. I got dropped off down there. Fucking crazy cows there, and rapids that way. I don't know. I know what you're thinking. A canoe solo? Why would you do that? I didn't set out to do it solo, to be honest. I actually wanted to do it with somebody, but I was traveling solo and at the time couldn't find a partner to do it with. And so I approached the canoe rental company and was like, can you match me up with other solo people so I don't have to do this by myself? And they were like, yeah, we sure can. And I never really thought to follow up because I took that at face value. Lo and behold, I get to the canoe company and they're like, oh, you're going by yourself. And I was like, okay, by myself? This, by the way, is not the Whanganui. Whanganui is much bigger. All right, day 1 on the Whanganui River tour, river trip, whatever. As you can see, I'm flying solo. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. But you know what? It's peaceful. So far we have good weather. It's beautiful. Yeah, so we'll see how the rest of the trip goes. And yeah, got to pay attention for some rapids, and my boat's starting to turn sideways. But anyway, we're off on an adventure. Whanganui River journey is kind of technically part of New Zealand's Great Walks. New Zealand has a handful of Great Walks, and the river journey is lumped into that. Even though you're not walking it, you're canoeing or kayaking down a river. And it was high on my list of adventures that I wanted to do because it sounded like so much fun. So I signed up for 5 days with the intent of being on the canoe on the river for 5 days, and you stop at certain points where there's campsites and huts that you can stay in, and you do have the choice of doing 3 days. So you start farther down the river and then do 1, 2, 3 days and you're done. But I did 5 days, so I started farther up the river and I was going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then out. I was like, why not just go all in and do 5 days? 3? I mean, I didn't fly to New Zealand to do 3 days. I flew to New Zealand to do 5. How many opportunities am I going to have to do this? So 5 it is. So we planned on 5 days. So I pretty much called out. It's overwhelming to say the least. I'm just having a really hard time steering the boat in the rapids, and I'm terrified of tipping it and tipping me out and hitting rocks and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel safe, and I don't really know why they put me alone. I literally have no idea.
when I sent the original message to them, my request was to be put with another group, and here I am. Solo. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe they can put me farther down the river where there's less rapids. Ultimately, as you can see, I'm on an island there, and the river there, and the road is there, the boat's there, rapids there. And to be honest, I know that when the boat goes in the water, it's just gonna go that way. I don't know that I can paddle it that way without it going that way. So, and the rapids down there are rather big. So, I don't really know what to do. I'm a little terrified of that. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. I probably would have felt less overwhelmed if I had somebody else in the canoe to help me steer instead of just doing it by myself. The rapids are not huge, they're small rapids, but they're still powerful and more powerful than me. So, yeah.
This might be part of a longer video that I might do about solo travel and its ups and downs. This is part of the downs when you travel solo, is that there's oftentimes things that you want to do, but it kind of requires other people to do it with. And this is one of those examples. Paddling the canoe by myself, obviously not working out, and I wanted to do it with another person because I had assumed that they could match me with another person. I didn't put out the effort to find another partner because they had said, yeah, no problem, we'll match you with somebody. If they had told me prior, like, hey Becky, we weren't able to match you with somebody, you can either go solo or pick a different date where there's other people, I would have made a different decision. I could have even placed a Facebook ad on Facebook groups and was like, hey, is anybody willing to do this trip with me? Anybody keen? These are the dates I was thinking, you know, or talk to more people in the hostels and backpackers to see if any of them were doing it. I was pretty flexible on my dates, so that wasn't really a big deal. But that didn't happen. Lesson learned to kind of find a backup plan. But yeah, that's kind of what I don't like about traveling solo, is that sometimes you end up in these situations where you just have to miss out on something because you don't have the other person to do it with. And that I always don't really like, because it sucks to miss out on things, and I do like sharing experiences a lot and, you know, meeting like-minded people I've talked about a lot before. I really love that, and it sucks when you kind of can't find that. And there's been other things that have come up where, like, oh, I'd really love to do that, but they want, you know, 2 or more people to sign up to do it. So there's been quite a few things that I've had to forego because I couldn't find somebody to share it with. So that's kind of one of my things about traveling solo that I don't particularly care for. I have other things as well that we'll put in that other video, but this is mostly relatable to this video, so we'll add it here.
And then I just like start wondering, like, am I overreacting? Am I overthinking? Should I just go and do it? Or am I being rational? I guess is what I'm wondering. Am I being rational? Is this a rational decision to quit before I'm ahead? That's what I don't know. And that's something that's bothering me a lot right now. Overthinking or not overthinking? Or being cautious and safe? Which one is it? I hope it's just being cautious and safe. I mean, it's dumb, right? This is dumb. I literally need somebody to tell me that this is dumb. To do this river. You see it? By myself. There's nobody else coming. Right now, anyway. It just seems dumb. Not how I had anticipated this canoe trip to go at all. But again, Am I overthinking? Or am I just being cautious? No idea. But you know what? I spoke to them yesterday when they told me that I was basically going solo. It just gave me a really bad feeling. And I oftentimes talk about following your gut instinct. And maybe that was my gut instinct, that bad feeling. I was kind of playing it off as, again, am I just overthinking? It'll be fine. But I don't know. I guess when it comes to rushing water and hidden rocks, you can't be too careful.
The river tour company asks you, they're like, at least the one that I chose, for better or for worse, asks, do you have experience paddling a canoe? Yeah, I have experience paddling a canoe on a lake, on a calm, very calm lake, and I have never done it by myself. I've always been with a partner to paddle the canoe. But it turns out I do not have the strength to paddle a Canadian canoe by myself down a raging river. Like, yeah, some of the parts of the river were quite calm, but there were rapids. And even in the calmer parts of the river, it was hard to steer. I was putting all my weight into that. And not only that, this was the other thing. They gave me a kayak paddle to paddle the canoe. And I mean, I know enough about kayaking, I know enough about canoeing, but do those paddles work interchangeably? I mean, a paddle's a paddle? I don't know that much, I guess, but they gave me a kayak paddle to do the canoe. So I'm trying not to name names for the company because I'm not here to slander or anything like that. I'm just kind of recapping how this adventure went, and it didn't go. I made it about 45 minutes down the river when I was like, I can't do it. I absolutely can't do it. And I have to say, I was totally gutted to make that decision. It was a trip I was really, really looking forward to. One of the things I was looking forward to the most. And I had planned the whole North Island around doing this trip. Yeah, I missed a lot. So yeah, it was hard to pull that trigger and admit that I couldn't do it by myself. And there was no way. But I didn't want to drown, I'll tell you that much. And I didn't want to capsize. And if I had capsized, what would I have done? I'm a tiny, petite person with this massive canoe and all my gear in it, which are in barrels that are heavy. All my stuff would have ended up in the Tasman Sea, is basically what would have happened. And I would have just been very like, okay, bye. So as fun as this trip would have been, it just didn't happen. We had to make the right call, and the right call was, ow, my knees. The right call was stopping it.
What do you think? Did I make the right decision, or should I have given it more of a chance? What would you have done? Let me know in the comments.